Hello. Today, I would like to welcome Cody Reno from Touchstone Communications. Hey, Cody.
Hi, how are you, Jenny?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, tell me about Touchstone Communications.
Touchstone was started about 22, 23 years ago by Mr. Sloan, one of the VPs of Citigroup. And he started the company basically as a payment processing company. But after the 2008 crisis, if you want to call it, the housing crisis, there was a lot of issues with mortgages and things like that. They were forced to kind of take on a different vertical. It was almost like Budweiser during Prohibition. They started selling ice cream, right? Because they had to stay afloat. They had to, kind of morph to the times. So then we went into a bunch, several different verticals with solar lead generation, BPO services, software development. And each one of those main branches have kind of branched off into smaller branches as well. We've gotten into like virtual assistants, employment of record over the last couple years. So we are able to basically attach ourselves to any existing company and help augment their staff. We don't necessarily replace people, we augment the team. A lot of times here in the US, anytime you want to bring on and hire new talent, it's expensive. A new college grad gets out of college with that little piece of paper and that they automatically want to make, 50 to $100,000 a year. Not every business can afford that, especially if you need a team of say 10 people. We are able to do it for, starting at $9 an hour. It's a lot more affordable for a smaller mid-sized company. And we can pretty much complete any task that doesn't require you to be on site or that doesn't require a license.
So, the company started as a call center, correct?
Yes,
As a call center, and operations are in Pakistan, correct?
that is correct. We have three sites in Pakistan. So Islamabad, Baria, and Rawalpindi. It's almost like Dallas and Fort Worth. It's two cities side by side, and they have their own personalities. I know I got to go see it personally. So it's kind of like that. So we have them in a variety of sites. And then we also have some operations in the Philippines as well.
Okay. So on your website, it's described as process-driven outsourcing, which is a really interesting way to frame what you do.
Yes.
So it sounds like you look at the business process that the company needs to have handled and then take it from there. What do you do to design solutions for them?
Yeah. So every single business has its own personality, has its own culture, it has its own, standard operating procedures. If you have two mortgage company A and B, they can be completely different behind the curtain. So when we partner with these companies, we get on and we learn about their culture because we want to find a team that we can kind of plug in that's going to fit that culture. So if we're going to work with somebody, we actually allow them to interview our employees. We don't just plug and play. We actually allow them to interview them, see if they're a good fit for them. We have a gigantic talent pool. So we allow them to kind of plug and play. We spend a lot of time with the team, for the company that we're going to work with. So that way we integrate seamlessly. And one of our taglines is our talent, your team. So yes, we're providing the people, but they're gonna come in and we don't want there to be a gap. So we're gonna do everything we can to fill in those gaps.
So your talent becomes the client's team and they're
Exactly.
treated as if they're doing work on behalf of the client.
Exactly. We have some clients, they'll actually send uniform shirts to our agents because sometimes we'll do video chats and things like that with the clients, and we want to have that shirt with the logo on it too. A lot of the clients, they don't even realize that it's the services being sent elsewhere. I don't want to say third party because we are a part of the team.
So give me an example of an industry or a couple of examples of industries that you work in.
So right now, we actually just finished a huge project with a travel agent. It's a very large travel agent, and we have constructed a website for them. So that's part of the software development side. But we also provide agents like customer service agents for them. So we help them on a couple of different verticals. So their website that we've created has, I think it's 900 pages integrated in it because, if you want to pick North America, North America has a bunch of different selections. And then within California or the New England area, there's other avenues for them to travel there. So it was a very complex website. It takes payments. So there's the whole e-commerce side of it. So we were able to work very closely with that team. We also worked very closely when you're testing the website. That's probably picking out bugs and everything else. It's a pretty tough process. So that's one. And like I said, when somebody's interested in working with this travel agent, they can call in. They actually speak with our people. We have software that we use, and we've integrated AI in this as well. So a long time ago, Jenny, if you wanted to take a trip all over Europe and you wanted to make 5 stops from this date to this date, your travel agent would have to sit there and map it all out, coordinate hotels. How are you getting from A to B? All that. We've integrated an AI system that'll do that in about 20 seconds. So the travel agent can be more of a customer service centered as opposed to sitting there mapping out every tiny little stop.
So your company built the software, custom built for this customer. And it sounds like you also ongoingly provide call center or agent kind of communications on the front end for this travel agent's customer. Do I have that right?
Yes, that is correct. A lot of time they need lower level support, so they'll call in and they'll be like, okay, well, what time are we leaving? And we're able to kind of look it up, make any kind of changes for them. Some of the higher level things, consulting and all that stuff would go obviously directly to the agent themselves at the actual travel agency, but then my agents will help them on some other lower level customer service and inquiries and responding to chats and things like that for them.
So kind of the first level of support that then
Exactly.
gets funneled back to the higher level travel agents that actually work for the client.
Yeah, because we feel like if we can handle some of that lower level stuff, they can handle the meat and the potatoes and really focus 100% on that client that's right in front of them instead of getting distracted by phone calls or seeing their emails flying in. They're able to focus on who's in front of them.
So interesting. So how does Touchstone find their clients?
There's a couple of different ways. I personally will attend like trade shows. I do a huge variety. Recently, I have gone to Vegas, Orlando. I'm going to Houston this weekend, like I said. So we find a lot of people there. We also do a lot of like social media reach out, things like that. A lot of word of mouth as well. The funny thing is, when we do a really good job with the company, they don't tell the people in their industry because we're kind of behind the curtains. Everybody talks about the secret sauce. We're kind of that. They don't want the competition knowing that they've got a secret weapon back there. So they'll tell their friends in another industry, and then we get referrals that way as well.
So you're the competitive advantage that the customer doesn't want to share.
Exactly. And so that makes it very, very hard for me to get the Google reviews that I need to make us look good, on our Google presence.
Understood. Absolutely. Are there other industries that you think are really interesting that the company's involved with?
Yeah. So there's so many. So when you asked me, I was like, I know this one, this one, this one, this one. What another industry that I think is really cool is when we work with like real estate agents. So we can work with them in groups. That way they can focus on showing properties, doing the closings, making money, doing activities that are going to bring in the money, because their job, they're kind of like entrepreneurs. They're their own secretaries. They're their own IT people, all the things, especially if they're independent agents. And a lot of those tasks, they either have to stay up late after hours or it takes them away from actual meetings that they need to be doing, like showing properties and closing and things like that. So we're able to plug in and allow virtual assistants to help them answer their emails, answer their phone calls, set up their schedules for them. There's just so many different tasks that they can complete. Our virtual assistants can also help them with their social media accounts. So it takes takes those little tasks away that they don't have to worry about it. They also spend a lot of times in their cars going from place to place. And technically, you're not supposed to be answering emails as you're driving. So our virtual assistants will do all that kind of stuff for them. And it's super affordable. $9 an hour, 40 hours a week. You can close a lot more deals when you're not having to focus on the menial things.
In this case, the virtual assistant is actually a person. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Which is really a distinction from automation with, chatbots. And at least today, they can only take things so far. And having it handled by a person who's been trained in the particular industry and how to respond to things would seem like a pretty significant advantage.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like with the chatbots and things that you're talking about, they only know what you teach them. And a lot of times there's one-offs and things like that. And not every customer's question is very simple. Sometimes answer is based on a couple other different factors. A bot can't differentiate. A bot can't truly think. They can only pull information and regurgitate it. So at least when you're dealing with a human, there's secondary thought process there and relational abilities.
Tell me a little bit about the language difference. I know a lot of people get concerned with call center operations in other countries because of the language difference. How does Touchstone think about that?
So one thing that really surprised me when I went to Pakistan was their level of English is very, very proficient. And there were several people that I spoke with in the office that barely had accents at all, because they're actually kind of sidetrack here. We are partnered with 5 universities, and they allow us to, or I want to say funnel students to us, but we partner with them. Their students will come on, they'll do internships with us. They will get they're basically like their first job out of college with us. We're helping, launch their career. And they're educated in English as well. 4 of the 5 universities are almost solely English. So they're exposed to a lot of English. English is actually their second language there. It's used by almost everybody. I had no problems communicating when I was there. And I was there for almost 2 weeks. We also have linguistics training when you come on board, because it's not all US. We also have several clients in the UK. So if you've ever spoke with somebody in the UK, their English is very different. It sounds different, and they also use different words than we use. We don't say Lou in the US. So they go through that kind of training as well. And there's also AI that you can put on the phones that if I speak into it in real time, it could change me to like an Aussie accent. So there's that technology that exists as well. And we can use that, because that's the first thing I always hear when I go to trade shows and I'm talking. They're like, how's the accents? How's the accent? And on our website, we actually have snippets where you can actually hear our agents speaking. We don't just want to tell you, oh, it's fine, it's fine. We actually provide examples for you.
Yeah, you prove it. And it sounds like the process you have of the client being able to interview the actual agents that will be working for them, that's another quality assurance selection checkoff.
Exactly. The good thing about when you partner with universities, you can get, for instance, like I had a meeting yesterday with the president of an IT company, and he was very specific with what he wants for his virtual assistant. But when you partner with the university, there are a plethora of students that are in IT. So it's very easy to find him 5 candidates that he can interview that are already very familiar with the different CRMs, that are familiar with all the different, jargon and language and stuff like that they use in the IT industry. Same thing with like real estate, accounting, things like that. They have all of those courses at the universities. And so once we can integrate them, with an accountant, we're already versed on GAAP. We don't have to teach them GAAP. So it just makes it an easy transition, for our clients.
What are you most excited about from a technology perspective with the company? What do you see in the next few years, with all the interest and hype around AI, maybe the combination of technology combined with the actual human resources that you're providing? How do you look at the future?
The thing I like the most is, even throughout my day, there's so many little tiny things, little tiny detail oriented things that I have to deal with. Like when I'm writing an email, I still type out emails myself. I still do social media posts myself. I try not to use AI for that. But as I move forward and become more busy and things become more complex, you can start to lean on those things. I think it's a crutch. I don't think it's going to replace my leg, but I think it's going to be a crutch, and it's going to help me, get where I need to be. But I need to focus on some of the higher level things. And I think it's really going to help me in other industries too, kind of take care of the smaller things. We still need to have a human face in front of our customers. We still need to be able to relate to them. We still need to be able to provide consulting for our people. I don't think AI will ever take that part over, but there's so many other things that are underlying the AI and technology can take care of, that's really going to change the industries, anybody's industry. One thing about COVID, prior to that, a lot of people were kind of leery about working remote and really communicating kind of like we're doing now. I'm in Fort Worth, and I believe you're in Ohio. And a long time ago, this meeting couldn't take place unless I hopped on American Airlines and went to your house or went to your studio. And now it kind of COVID has everybody shifted, and it was the afterburners on technology to get everybody moving forward a lot faster, so we can do things like this. And I think it's awesome, and I have no idea where it's going to lead us, but I think it's going to be great.
So I think what's interesting about Touchstone, you've got that personal capability, but combined with deep technology experience and capability, you're building systems that help optimize the customer's business process.
Exactly. Another way that we use AI that I think is really cool is in the sales process. So we have an AI system that actually in real time monitors a sales call. And what it does is it picks up tone. It can pick up the client's tone, and it can pick up the agent's tone. There's a lot of psychology behind that. When you're having a conversation with somebody, when your tone goes up and down, it means different things. And in sales, you have to kind of maintain that upbeat. You have to use certain words that are really going to engage that client, kind of bring them in. You don't want to use words that are going to like make them nervous about purchasing from you. You don't want to make them nervous about your product, services, the future of the quality of the product, things like that. So the AI kind of grades that call in real time, and then they can go back, review it, so that way when that agent gets on his next call, he doesn't make those same mistakes. And so you're kind of gradually building and building and building your team. Next thing you know, you've got A+ sales agents and super strong team, and your client is actually more appreciative, obviously, because their bottom line is getting better.
What is your market segment? Is it mostly larger companies, or can it be very small companies? I saw on your website there was even a case study about pizza shops, which are much smaller. But tell me a little bit more about your target customer market segments.
So that's funny. I literally had this question yesterday at my meeting. So we deal with everybody from a one-man shop all the way up to enterprise level companies. I don't know if I can say any of the company names, but there are definitely like enterprise level telecom companies that you've heard of that sponsor stadiums. We work with those guys. And then, like I said, we work with the husband and wife, real estate agents, insurance agents, and everything in between. The pizza shops, that's like I said, we can help any size company. But one of our pizza people, they're about 700 franchise stores, so it is huge, and we take their orders for them. That they're actually a Canadian store. So they've got shops all over. But yes, we do all the customer service. We do the order taking. And the cool thing about that is every time we take an order, it costs the company less than $1 for us to take that call. But they average, I think it's $3.80 extra on like upselling and things like that. So they're actually making a ton more money bringing us on board, because a lot of times you have younger guys, that answer the phone, they'll just take the order exactly what the customer asked for. But, with our agents, they're trained, hey, do you want these breadsticks? Do you need something to drink with that? And they're like, you know what? throw in some cheese sticks, throw in some of those little cinnamon sticks. So they're able to upsell. And like I said, that makes the company happy, and it makes what they are allocating to us financially, they're actually, 4xing that on the other end by using us.
That's great. Well, it's such an interesting business model, and I really appreciate you sharing the story a little bit. If people want to get in touch with Touchstone, where do we find you?
So they can go to touchstonebpo.com. There's a contact form on there. They can reach me on LinkedIn under Cody Reno. Also, you can email me as well at creno@touchstonebpo.com.
Great. Well, Cody, thanks so much for the conversation. And I
Yeah.
wish you and Touchstone continued success and keep helping those clients.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenny, for your time. It's been a very fun and a valuable experience for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.